Hi guys, welcome to a new video. So today I want to show you how to start a new tree from a cutting. And this is, we're talking about portulacaria afra today, or some people call them dwarf jades. So there's a couple different ways, and it depends on your style, but I typically like a little more movement in my trunks, whether it's just slanting with a little movement or more of a zigzag, S-shaped, twisty, something. But some people like the straight trunks, and that's fine. But so here are a few cuttings that I cut off some of my larger trees earlier this year, and I can tell they're rooted just because of the new growth. So they've put on, you know, a few inches of growth since I put them in here. So they'll have some roots on them, probably not real strong, but I'm gonna dig one out today just to kind of show you how I add movement to portulacaria and, you know, develop into a tree. So first thing we'll do is, I'm just gonna, since I have several in here, I'm just gonna try to dig one out without upsetting all of them, because I don't want to repot all of them today. But this may be a little more difficult than I anticipated, but we'll see what we can do. I'll just see if I can get under here and pry this guy loose. Just make sure it's not growing out of the bottom. Nope. And just a little cheap hack, this container that I have these growing in, it's got a decent shape to it, but all this is a plastic bowl that I picked up at Walmart, and they're only 50 cents. And it's perfect for a training container because it's shallow, and you know, it's perfect to train to grow bonsai cuttings in. You can even grow a full tree in one just as a training pot. And like I said, they're only 50 cents, and I saw these and I couldn't pass it up. And then you just drill a few holes in the bottom of them, and you've got a nice little training pot. So just thought I would share that. So yeah, we've got a few roots, but nothing spectacular yet. But I'll let these other ones continue to grow in that pot. But so, like I said, you can let your cuttings continue to grow like this, and you'll end up with a very straight trunk. And I'll show you a picture up here in the corner of a tree that I bought online. So I didn't get to pick it out, and they sent it to me, and it was a very straight trunk. And I'm trying to do stuff with it, but once they get that thick and that big, it's very difficult to add movement to it. So I'm working with it and seeing what I can do, but I like to, when I can, start my trees on their own so I can add movement into it. And so the first thing I do before I pot it, I usually just get a piece of wire and this one I'll just use about the length of the tree or so. So we'll do that. Cut that off. And then what I do is I just hold it at the bottom. And it's a little tricky, but you basically hold the wire more than the tree. So, and then you loosely start wrapping the wire around the tree. Not really, and you can almost do it without it being on the tree. That's just, I'm trying to describe how loose it is, because I don't want to break the tree. So I'm trying not to trap any leaves in while you're wiring it up. But it's a little tricky, like I said, but you just keep twisting it up like almost like a corkscrew, but kind of keep that 45 to 60 degree angle on your bending, and try to weave it in between the little branches and the leaves. But like I said, it can be a little tricky at this stage just because of the tree is still pretty delicate, but with a little practice you can get it done. So here's what I'll do. Like I said, this isn't a how to wire video because you don't typically wire a branch this way, but for these very young cuttings on portulacaria, this is how I usually wire them. And this also gives it a little room to grow and without digging into the trunk, so you don't have to remove the wire quite often. So once you get the wire on like this, you can add a little movement. And what I like about this is you can already see where the branches are going to be. So where these leaves are coming out, that's going to be a branch. If you just let it grow like this bottom one, it's already got a couple sets of leaves on it, so you know that's going to be a branch. And just right across, they grow right across from each other and then opposite across from each other. So you can kind of use that in your styling. So if you know, typically a bonsai will have a low branch, you know, either right or left. So you can kind of use that as you design it. So you can kind of bend your tree over. Let me see if I can get this wrapped around one more loop at the bottom without breaking the tree here. There we go. So you can kind of use that as to your advantage, kind of pre-styling, pre-designing your tree, and just kind of give it a little movement off to that side. So picture it sitting in the pot like that, so it's kind of going off to this side, and then you've got your first branch. And then you can kind of bend it back to this side, and then you can even give it another slight bend at the top. So what this is going to do when you get it potted into a container, you're already going to have some nice flowing movement. You're going to go up, have your first branch, and then this could be your back branch, and then up here depends on where you want to, how aggressively you want to bend it, because you don't want to branch on the inside of a bend, so you could bend that over a little more. So this branch will be kind of on that curve, so you could pick one of those branches and so on. So, and then you just let the top grow out, and you can sacrifice that. You can cut that off later once you get a thicker trunk. So from there, I'm just going to put some soil. I just got a plastic grow pot here. I'll just put some soil in it real quick and get the tree planted. And when they're this young, I do plant them a little deeper, but I will go ahead and slant it so it'll kind of grow the way I want it to. And then you just let that grow on like that. So, and here's one I'll show you that I did a couple months ago, and you can see how much bigger it is already. Here's, just for comparison, here's the one I just did, and this one, it's already got, you know, some longer branches on it. But I did the same thing when it was young like that. I just put some wire loosely on it, and you can see it's gone, you know, grown very tall. And the trunk, you can see the trunk there compared to this one, it's about twice as thick already. It's already developing that woody texture that portulacarias do. So, like I said, I just wanted to share how I do that and kind of add some early movement in new trees. And you let this guy grow, maybe put it in even a bigger pot in a few months, and let it continue to grow. And within a year or two, you can have a pretty nice tree, and it's already shaped. You know, you can almost pre-place your branches where you want them. Like, you know, like this one, it's already got a nice side branch. Then up here, you can use any of these for a side branch coming out this way, and you've got several options for back branch. And once this gets a little bit bigger, I will go in and start selecting branches. Like this one here, I know it's coming out. Like one of these here could be the side branch, and this one's kind of on the interior of a curve, so you could go in and kind of pre-select and say, okay, I'm not going to use this as a branch in the future, so you could take that off. And that way, more energy and growth will go towards the branches that you do want. So you can go in and kind of design your own tree, you know, put your branches where you want them and everything. So it takes a little longer. I mean, you could buy one off the shelf like this straight trunk one here. If you don't have the advantage of going to a nursery. Like I said, I ordered this online, so they picked it out and sent it to me. But if you do have a chance to go to a bonsai nursery, you could pick out your own tree, which is a whole different story. But if you want to do it on the cheap, take a cutting, and then, like I said, within a year or two, you could have a pretty nice tree here. So, and then, you know, if you do something like this, you can kind of slant it off to the side, and I'll show you another picture of a large port that I call my big guy. It's been with me the longest. It's probably 15 plus years old, but you can see it's got movement to it. I planted it in a pot, and I'll try to show some progress pictures, but it was slanted in a pot. I bent that low branch kind of as a curve to it, and then grew that over 12, 15 years, and you end up with a really nice tree, just adding a little movement to it. But like I said, some people, you know, like the straight trunk, which is fine. I just don't care for that style. I like a little movement in mine. So anyway, just thought I'd share that little tip and kind of how I pre-wire some of my cuttings just to add movement to it and turn them into future trees. So appreciate you watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks.